That's right. GMFB, everybody. Welcome inside. We're live in L.A. and New York today. It's Friday, March 14th. Jamie Erdahl, as always. Peter Schrager, Kyle Bryant. What's happening in New York? We got fullback Jason Kabinda at the table again. Still hasn't blinked since we did the show yesterday. You know him. You love him. And defensive lineman recently retired Isaac Rochelle at the table today. Welcome back.
I love it. Excited to be here.
Good. We're so glad you got your notebook. You are all ready to rock and roll. You had some takes yesterday that you couldn't even keep within yourself in the commercial break. So we opened the topics up today, guys. New York, are you ready for the final Jason Kabinda, Isaac Rochelle experience today? Peter, how are you doing these days?
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm doing great, and we got a little drama overnight, and it came in the form of social media. Jamie, let's get to Dallas where we finally have some action.
Yes, finally have some action. Not the kind we thought it was going to be in free agency. DeMarcus Lawrence recently departed from the Dallas Cowboys. Spent his first 11 seasons in the league playing for the America's team, the organization in Dallas. So he is now a member of the Seahawks after signing a 3-year deal this week. Lawrence then telling yesterday the @Hawk blogger why he left Dallas, and it rubbed some people the wrong way. That guy was like, I'm not sure what to do with that. I was definitely not going to win a Super Bowl there, says DeMarcus Lawrence. Well, Micah Parsons took issue with this because he claims this is what rejection and envy looks like. This some clown emoji. Okay, so then the two exchanged a couple of X's back and forth, and DeMarcus Lawrence capped it with this. Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I would not have left. Devil purple face emoji. Everyone's angry, Peter. Everyone's feeling things, whether you're in Dallas or not. Let's dig into this situation. Peter, please do us what you do ever so well. Set the table and then just your thoughts behind this interaction.
Well, look, it's nothing quite like on the way out, just leaving something for everyone else to deal with. That's what DeMarcus Lawrence did. He's like, hey, I'm going to spend 11 years here. I'm going to raise a family. I'm going to make this my home. But on the way out, throw that out there that we were not winning a Super Bowl. I do wonder if this unmasks some of the stuff that was boiling under that locker room the last couple of years. You know, Mike McCarthy had the weirdest situation ever where his contract just kind of ran out and then he didn't get another job. And instead of just, negotiating for whatever it was, he's out of coaching right now. And it's beyond belief that he was, at the Combine we're talking about how he's working with Quinn Ewers as a quarterbacks coach. Like, that's what he's doing right now. And you look back at Dallas, they're quiet in free agency. They haven't taken care of Parsons. And, Dak goes to the Bahamas and gets a Fly Eagles fly chain. For the first time since I've been on this show in 8 years, it's starting to feel like the Cowboys are not only a little bit of unraveling a bit, but also like kind of the joke right now. And that has to affect Jerry Jones. That has to affect Jerry Jones. That every morning we're starting off, what are the Cowboys doing? Ha ha, we're passively aggressive. What does that mean? We don't know. You're actually not involved. And now you've got this former player on the way out who was a really esteemed and well-established Cowboy throwing a carpet bomb on the way out. Micah Parsons takes the shrapnel of this, and he's going to try to defend his guys. But then Lawrence gets the last word and is like, you're busy tweeting and podcasting, which, if you're a Cowboys fan, you see that and you're like, that's kind of what my thoughts were, but I haven't been able to say it because I'm just a fan. Oh, here's a player and a teammate and a defensive leader saying it. Look, I didn't play the game. You guys did. I know there's all sorts of dynamics in a locker room. But I will say this. Everyone around the league and everybody on TV right now is kind of snickering at the Cowboys. I have to imagine this is embarrassing for the folks who run the organization.
I hear you, Peter. And I think the reason you might say that is that this is a important, powerful headline. And it is because I could say the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl or aren't going to win a Super Bowl. Anybody with a podcast can say that. An insider could say that. It's that it comes from a guy who was born and bred as a Cowboy. And to your point, not just someone who had a cup of coffee and was there for one camp. DeMarcus Lawrence is a very important Cowboy, a landmark Cowboy of really the 21st century, who's been there 11 years and has worn a Cowboys helmet in several Pro Bowls. And his reaction is not, thanks for the memories, they're never going to win a Super Bowl. That's not me saying it. We don't get this from a guy who was a Cowboy and will be probably remembered for life. I'm not saying it. DeMarcus Lawrence is saying, in effect, the new coach is underwhelming. Free agency is underwhelming. Micah Parsons is maybe underwhelming and is certainly mismanaged. I'm not saying it. DeMarcus Lawrence is saying that the Eagles over the last several years have more Super Bowl appearances than you have playoff wins. DeMarcus Lawrence is saying the Commanders were just in a title game and you haven't been to one since 5 years before Jayden Daniels was born. He's saying you're not going to win it. And better believe anyone who might have a perception that Micah Parsons does too much media, which I do not, he's saying, you go tweet and pod and do all that stuff. And by the way, your production really hasn't been what it's been. So maybe that's the reason you're not getting paid as quickly. I'm not saying that. A guy who was in the same room as him, the same huddle as him, all of that is saying it. We don't see these from the Cowboys. We see Jerry surrounded by 50 people saying his usual stuff. We say whoever the coach is towing the line. And we say players mostly staying in line. DeMarcus Lawrence just said, I know everything about that organization. Nobody knows. I got a PhD in 21st century Dallas Cowboys, and they're never winning a Super Bowl. It's not me saying it, Peter saying it, you saying it. Him saying it means a lot more. It makes it a lot more memorable.
Yeah, Kyle, I think you describe everything perfectly. It's just very underwhelming what this offseason has been for the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't see one player tweet, let's get to work, or we're getting ready to go, for this Brian Schottenheimer hire. It's just, there's no excitement here. There's a lack of moves. I mean, it's just Micah Parsons doesn't have a contract yet. There's no offseason moves. And a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, who spent 11 years on this team, gave it his absolute all. For him to come out and say that and truly feel like, hey, this team is never going to win a Super Bowl, it very much so reminds me of the Damian Lillard story arc of giving his absolute all to the Portland Trail Blazers and finally just being like, you know what, enough is enough. I am not going to win here. I gave it absolutely everything I got. I'm done. I still call this place my home. I love this place, but I'm done and I'm over it. And that's what DeMarcus did.
Dame, what's up, Dame talk this morning, Isaac?
Yeah, this is Good Morning Basketball. I like a little touch of that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Here's my thing with it. I know this. Have you ever had a disagreement with your significant other and you get around the homies and you tell a totally different story to them than actually happened? I think Peter hit it right on the head. I think there's some drama maybe in this locker room that is just spilling over, some frustrations. I don't think those two guys are getting into a tweeting match unless there was frustration that was pre-existing. Also, I don't know what DeMarcus Lawrence is talking about when it comes to Super Bowls. If I'm comparing these two teams, Seahawks and Cowboys, that are fully rolling, I'm taking the Cowboys every time. I mean, Dak Prescott has had great seasons. You've seen CeeDee Lamb play very well. I don't really love this. I'm leaving to go win a Super Bowl, and I'm going to the Seahawks.
It'd be different if he was, like, standing in the Chiefs practice facility or the Bills or the Ravens. But, like, you're saying in terms of teams that might be closer to the finish line, holding a Lombardi, having a parade, you would take the Cowboys right now.
Correct. Okay. I think a lot of people in the NFL, and we see a lot of teams in the NFL who need a quarterback, if Dak was available and they knew he was rolling on all cylinders, they're taking him. It's no question. And you're right. Yeah, he goes to the Eagles. He goes to a team that we know is